Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 12 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. called Seeds. And this is overall, I thought, an alright episode. It's an episode that does... Its main thing here is to kind of follow up on everything that happened with Coulson last time around. And it does a pretty admirable job about that. We follow up on, of course, what happened with him. And it picks up on some of the plot threads that are going on with the other characters. We've got some development of what was going on with May and Ward's relationship, with May admitting what's happening to Coulson. We get some really big stuff involving Skye's past, and we get to see some more interesting insight into the personalities of Fitz and Simmons. And I also like that it's kind of continuing to show, for example, that Fitz is becoming a little bit harder, a little bit stronger. Harder, better, stronger, faster. Yeah, that's a good album. Gotta love some Daft Punk. But anyway, let's get right into it. And first of all, I like how in the flashback that one thing that they showed was May saying to Skye about how you need to put your personal feelings aside if you want to be able to do this job. And if you go back to the theme that's been going on along this season of how May sees a lot of her previous self in Skye, you have to wonder if maybe she isn't even talking to herself a little bit. If this isn't her manifesting fear at like her relationship with Ward. Now granted, it seems to basically be purely sexual, but it is a connection between two people who really aren't that good with connections. Mostly it's just a matter of convenience, but Ward and May do genuinely respect each other, and they seem to honestly like each other. And even forming that much of a connection, that's kind of a big step for them. And of course there's the whole thing of walking into a situation that might take away from you your real joy of life. Whatever happened to May with that mission, with the mind control person or whatever, that happened. And when people experience tragedies, terrible personal losses, one thing that tends to happen to them is that they don't want anyone else to experience that. And this is in a way a little bit of what's going on with May and Skye. And what's really great about this is when Coulson does finally gives Skye the truth. Now, of course, she's horrified to learn what's going on. The truth really is worse than she had ever imagined. But to Skye's credit, she takes this and makes a positive of it. That she realizes that she doesn't let this destroy her, she lets this focus her. She takes what could have been the sort of thing that emotionally devastates a person and instead, in a way, lets it free her. Now she knows the truth. She has to accept it and go forward from there. And this is a lesson that we all should keep in mind because, well, bad things happen to everyone in life. And I can give you a pretty good example of that. Just yesterday, well, long story short, and I found out that some really bad stuff about my job. And, well, to make a long story short, basically, in 6 weeks, I don't even know what continent I'm going to be living on. My life is just so up in the air right now, and just trying to wrap my brain around the question of, what do I do next? It's hard. It really, truly is. When you feel like the rug has just been pulled out from under you. But this isn't the first time this has happened to me in my life, and unfortunately it probably won't be the last. But, like I said, and like Skye in this episode, you have to accept when things happen to you that are bad. And that's the hardest part, but it's also the most important. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn in life. And it's one I still struggle with. It's not easy to accept when terrible things happen to you. But happen to you they will. And if you can accept them, then you can start going forward. You can take these things and start trying to find solutions. Start turning them into strengths. Sky's learning about the truth about her past has refocused her, has given her purpose, and has freed her from the knowledge that she was not unwanted. All that feelings that she had her life of thinking that she was, no one really cared about her. Well, now she knows the truth, that she was actually being protected. That S.H.I.E.L.D. agents died to save her life because they cared. It's like in my situation. My friends have been really great to me since yesterday and finding out about all this. Been very supportive of me. And that has made more of a difference than I can really put into words. It really is so meaningful in life to know that even if your friends and family can't swoop in during those times and offer you solutions to your problems, just the fact that they are there, that makes all the difference in the world. And while right now both Sky and I are in periods of uncertainty in our lives, I'm choosing to take this as a chance to send my life in a new direction, a direction of my choosing. And as I said, I've got some real uncertainty about what's going to be going on with me. I don't even know what country I'll be living in come the start of March. But whatever happens, I'm going to make it work. And that's really all we can do in life. Yeah, aren't I a cheerful and happy fellow? Aren't I? Don't you just love watching how upbeat and, la da 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 I am all the livelong day? See, this is one thing I also like about making these videos, is that I can share things with you guys and still have fun with it. Believe me, this is lifting my spirits right now. But anyway, let's talk about comic book stuff. Because there's cool geeky stuff in this episode that made me happy. Okay, first of all, Sky looks at the memorial at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy and says, Bucky Barnes. Well, okay, of course you remember Bucky Barnes from the Captain America movie, and of course we comic book people know who good old James Buchanan Barnes is. And of course, if you're familiar with Captain America lore, you probably have an idea that this is going to be a rather significant name in the upcoming Captain America movie. And if you didn't know that, well, sorry, but sorry. So yeah, a nice little setup for the upcoming Captain America movie, and I gotta say, I am really looking forward to that movie. And of course, from the Captain America movie, we have the mention of Hydra. Of course, from the show, we have the mention of Centipede, and from Iron Man 3, the mention of AIM. And yeah, I really have to wonder if maybe we might not see Centipede introduced into the Marvel Universe at some point. Honestly, I wouldn't really surprise me if we saw all the characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. introduced into the Marvel Universe. Coulson and Victoria Hand, and of course Nick Fury already exist there. And actually, Marvel's big editor-in-chief guy, Joe Quesada, even drew a little bit of fan art of Fitz. Now, it was just a little bit of fun that he put up on the internet, but hey, cool, right? And would really any of us object to seeing the good old Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. popping up in the Marvel Universe, and just for the chance to see them interact with like Wolverine or the actual Avengers, or even Spider-Man? Can you imagine putting Phil in the same room as Spider-Man? Oh, that would be so awesome. And how well would Kitty Pryde and Sky get along? Awesome, man, awesome. And martial arts butt-kicking chicks, Matilda May totally needs to team up with like Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. oh, dude, just the possibilities, just the possibilities. I mean, come on, heck, forget Peter Parker. Oh man, he and Fitz and Simmons would love each other. Ooh, just the possibilities. Anyway, of course, we also get to see Ian Quinn come back, and yeah, I'm sort of a little blasé on him, but hearing him mention the clairvoyant, that was like, ooh. So yeah, that definitely picked up my interest in whatever's going on with Ian Quinn before. He just really seemed like you're a very one-shot sort of character the last time he appeared. And anyway, getting back to the theme of this episode is, of the way people deal with tragedy. Well, of course, Skye chooses to take what happens to her and turn it into a positive. And the kid, what was his name? Dave or something like that? Or Nick? No, yeah, I think it was Dave or whatever. Well, apparently he's now acquired cold powers, and it's heavily implied that he's going to take a villainous route. Now, as for what villain he could become, well, his name didn't ring a bell, but I didn't really bother to look it up on the Marvel Wiki. And there's a pretty long list of Marvel bad guys with cold powers, so who knows. But still, definitely interesting to see where things go from there. Now, as I said, one other thing about this episode is that people have noted that this is the episode where May has talked more than in any other episode in the entire history of the series. Now, granted, the entire history of the series is 12 episodes, but still, this is really a great sign that May has indeed come out of her shell. And I think with May, talking is one of those situations where less is more. You know that if May is really out there and having to really have a real major conversation with someone and sharing the details of her sex life, that this is a big deal for her emotionally. She's not one of those people who casually talks about what's going on in her sexual life. Yeah. And I like how Coulson handles that. And he just simply says, basically tells May, I trust that you can handle this situation. And she says to him, if it becomes a problem, I'll end it. And that's really great. It's great to see two people who are mature adults, who respect each other, and are willing to trust and respect each other's decisions like that. That's how professionals get things done. And one thing that I really like about this episode is where Coulson talks about all the secrets. And you have to wonder, after everything that's happened to him, if Coulson, a man whose life has been dedicated to keeping secrets, how do things go for him if he flips that around and starts being the one who wants to uncover the secrets? And what does that mean for him? What does it mean if he starts taking that page out of Skye's book? But maybe that's what S.H.I.E.L.D. needs right now. Maybe there have been too many secrets. Maybe there needs to be somebody who's willing to go and look in those dark and dusty corners to haul the things that have been pushed away, that shouldn't have been pushed away, into the light. Because if you hide things away, you can't deal with them. And things that get hidden away tend to fester. Emotions. Problems. Cheese that falls behind the couch. An interesting new possible direction for Season 2? Well, it wouldn't surprise me if this show doesn't always stick to the case of the week format, so something to keep in mind. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.